Greetings, everybody. Mike Wilkerson here for the True Blood Transfusion. We missed a couple of weeks because David welcomed in a wonderful new baby boy. Congratulations, David.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have everybody back for the True Blood Transfusion. This is the sister program to the Fang Banger podcast, which provides you True Blood each and every hour, or True Blood reviews each and every hour during the HBO hit series True Blood. We just got done reviewing episode 9?
8.
8.
Yeah, 8.
God. Episode 8 of season 5, and I got to tell you, at least compared to episode 7, 8 was bounding steps above. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Should we try and describe what's going on with episode 7? No, let's
not.
not.
No, let's not. Let's just get right into it.
And this is going to be a weird episode of the Transfusion. We're going to focus solely on the feedback that you sent us, the most feedback that we've gotten in regard to a True Blood episode. So, David, let's not wait any longer. Let's get straight to it.
Excellent.
The first one we have is from Mark in Ashland, Virginia. Mark, thanks for watching and listening to the Two Guys Talking Fang Banger podcast, at least for now.
Yeah, right.
I guess, right?
Up until this point.
Right. Mark chimes in and says, please stop watching True Blood. It comes across in your podcast that you don't really like the show.
I think that would be inaccurate.
I think inaccurate's being kind, but we'll get more to that in a second, Mark. If you hate the show so much, or if the show has gone in a direction you don't like, stop watching, all caps, exclamation point. I'm particularly tired of the quote, it was a bump, end quote. That's
that's me. I use that often.
Chiming in, quoting the director of True Blood.
Right.
So I guess you should stop that.
I should.
That's terrible.
I should quit that.
I don't really mind when people... How appropriate that the battery starts to die on your comments. I don't really mind when people don't agree with me about the show or life in general, but your podcast conveys an attitude of we are right, and if you disagree, there's something wrong with you. I'm going to take my own advice and stop listening to your show because it's gone in a direction I don't like. Mark from Virginia.
Virginia. You know, we kind of addressed this a little bit in the Fang Banger podcast this week.
We did. In fact, we read your comment, which we never do, by the way, inside of our podcast, Mark.
And, you know, without rehashing what we had to say too much, you know, I just want to say that Mike and I do this because we like the show. Mm-hmm. You know, I look forward to every Sunday night sitting down with my wife and watching this show. Mm-hmm. We love it. It's something that bonds us together, mm-hmm. and it's something that Mike and I do together. I don't come here and do the Fang Banger podcast and the True Blood Transfusion because I hate it. You know, I wouldn't subject myself to something that I didn't like so much. It's not inappropriate for somebody to point out a negative in something that they enjoy. You know, not every day is sunny and bright. Sometimes it's 107 degrees in St. Louis. So, you know, I don't know what else really to say to Mark other than sorry that you don't like the fact that we can find something critical in something that we enjoy so much.
Right. Mark, what I'd also try to stress to you is that unlike you that doesn't want to have really anybody chime in the opposing direction, we do it regularly and have done. And that's why I created Two Guys Talking. Is because not in addition to telling you, the audience, what I think and what David thinks and the other people that interact inside the podcast at twoguystalking.com think, we want to know what you think. And part of the formula and the program inside of Two Guys Talking programming is actually stopping. I try to do it at least 4 times inside of the movie review podcasts and literally ask you, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
It is a piece of programming that is inside every single Two Guys Talking branded podcast that I try to recommend to every podcast because the truth is that if you don't ask for input, you'll never get input.
This is true.
And Mark, that's what you've done with us. I mean, I don't know if you understand that your why don't you just stop watching True Blood is a perfect reason why we ask you what you think.
Exactly.
So again, unlike you, Mark from Ashland, Virginia, thank you for your input. And we hope that you continue watching and listening to the Two Guys Talking podcast, in particular the Fang Banger podcast. But be sure to listen to all the other ones. I don't know that people asking you for opinion makes you mad.
Right.
You'll find much of it inside the Two Guys Talking podcast stuffs. Thanks again, Mark. Melissa from Irving, Texas writes, I have enjoyed your podcast over the year plus you've been doing the Fang Banger podcast. I really do find your viewpoints harsh at sometimes, until this most recent review of True Blood's in the beginning. I've never felt more jerked around by a television show in my life. So this is someone else chiming in that was also jerked around, and I think jerked around is incredibly appropriate for In the Beginning. In the Beginning, I don't even know why we titled it In the Beginning. Is it because there was some sort of fresh start there?
I don't know.
Is it because they found a catchy song to throw on the end of the episode?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Although I got to tell you that I found somebody that I used to know incredibly appropriate, because that's what we got, I think, and I elaborate on that in the Fang Banger podcast this week.
Yeah.
We get a return to the comfort of the people that we loved.
Melissa continues. With as little free time as people have in their lives, why is it we're made to experience as much wasteful time as we have this year? And again, I think David and I totally agree there. When we get into the at least half-point section of the episode, it should be at least something like a football game, where you've seen some decent action, some scoring, and something's going on. Well, I don't think we got any of that.
No.
I think we got maybe a couple of field goals on each team, and now we're wondering what the hell is going on as halftime rolls around.
Yeah.
That's not how television is supposed to work. I don't care what series you watch. There's supposed to be something more engaging, more embattling than what we've been seeing for True Blood. And Melissa kind of mirrors it. She gets off on a little tangent here at the end. What are the chances you can get a writer, as you did with the director guy, to see why this happens? Melissa, that's an excellent question, and without throwing Romeo on the fire, I don't know that any writer would want to come on and talk to us, because we may have offended them somehow.
This is true.
In particular, the writers of the seventh episode.
The seventh episode, yeah.
I would love for them to come on, and it's not because I want to grill them and rake them over the coals like we did the episode. It's because I want to understand the decision making.
Yeah, absolutely.
It kind of goes back to what we talked about inside the first piece of feedback from Mark. I yearn to know more of the creative process inside of television, but more importantly, why things are done.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not the demographic, that's okay. Well, then don't cage me in with the first 3 seasons of the program and then go, woohoo!
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. You'll get hate mail in this episode, but folks are thinking the same thing as you are and wondering what's happening to, quote, my True Blood, end quote. Thanks, David and Mike. Melissa, thanks so much for a great piece of feedback. We're going to speed up just a little bit here. We've got Alan from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Alan writes, you asked how we went from episode 4 to what we experienced in the beginning. In the beginning. I ask, what the hell is wrong with you two guys hating? Fair question.
Fair question.
And again, Alan, I so hope that you're going to watch this as well as listen to the episode, because your interaction is exactly what we're clamoring for. We want this discussion to happen. Alan continues, it doesn't compute that you watch the show. You do these podcasts and hate the show as hard as you do regularly. I don't understand.
Regularly we hate the show?
I'm just reading the text. Don't be sorry. I'm willing to give you the hour of life here inside of Podcast Land. Why can't you give your hour of life to the show? Again, I don't understand and hope for something more positive inside of Season 5. Alan from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
I got this one, Mike.
You got it.
All right, so I am not here to say I just watched a great show and it's so fantastic, everyone go run and watch it, if it's not a great show. True Blood is an exceptional television series.
Based on what is even more exceptional concept, and that's why when it veers off.
Right, and so the idea that everything is roses is ridiculous. And if what you're looking for in a review or a conversation or discussion about the show that you enjoy is somebody to say, man, everything is great, well, when everything's not great, you're not going to get that. That would be disingenuous, and we just tell you what we think, and we would hope that you would tell us what you think. For instance, in your comment, you didn't say one thing that you thought was fantastic about episode 7. And I would really like to know what you thought was fantastic about that episode, because we came up with some good things that were in that episode and a whole list of bad things. So, don't just tell us that we're idiots or we're always hating. If you disagree with us, tell me why you think I was wrong, other than the fact that I should stop watching and I'm a hater.
Right. And it's built into the format of the program. I mean, I don't know if you understand.
You took advantage of it.
You literally did. We asked you. So, what do you guys think? Not only once, not only twice, but 3 times inside of that program, we asked about the positives, the negatives, and then another one, so that you would literally tell us what you think. Again, to go back to the concept inside of Mark's first message here, if we never asked you, you wouldn't say anything except to hate us and destroy us inside of iTunes.
Right.
Which, thankfully, to date, we don't have any of that.
Well, that's nice.
So that's nice, and thank you for those that bothered to not eviscerate us on iTunes. But the whole gist of this is that we're creating a platform for discussion and a total opportunity for you guys to tell us why that terrible episode wasn't so terrible. But as David said, you didn't list any of that inside of your email. So again, thank you so much, Alan from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You had the platform, and I can't wait till the next one. The next one comes from Chris in St. Paul, Minnesota. Chris in St. Paul. Chris, it's KRIS, so I'm going to assume it's a she.
Possibly.
Maybe not. Chris from St. Paul, Minnesota writes, trumpets and laughter were spinning through my car this afternoon when I heard your episode.
Excellent.
I can't agree with you more, but I feel dirty for doing it for sure. And
so did we.
It's some of that survivor guilt.
Right, absolutely.
We get to minute 54 inside the 53-minute episode, and I know I looked at the other person that wasn't sitting next to me, and I said, "What the hell just happened?"
Exactly.
Because I'm like, is it? Oh, it's just not done yet. Oh, wait a second, it's 54 minutes in, so it's done.
It's done, yeah.
And so you're feeling exactly what we are, just I think even more apropos put. Very well said. Lafayette was my favorite character, and they left him alive after season 1 was more than a bonus. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
In fact, when we first started the Fang Banger podcast last year, David told me, well, they killed off Lafayette in the books after season 1. Because season 2, the beginning of season 3 is where Lafayette really grows his wings as a character.
Absolutely.
Totally. And so that he was gone, that destroyed me. I'm like, okay, well, good. And now they're bringing him back inside of season 5-ish. In fact, in the last podcast, which you can listen to right now by clicking the links right above us or the links right below us to listen to the most recent episode, that's exactly what we focus on, is that wonder that Lafayette is actually coming back. And it's the bitch hookah version of Lafayette as opposed to the silent, now benevolent, powered witch person.
Yeah.
Which I know you loved it.
I did.
I did not love it because it's not who I think Lafayette is, and I think you'd agree with me, Chris. Chris continues, this accidental loser they've painted him as this season is more than negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I agree that the silence inside of a couple of episodes ago where his plight is sorted out by nameless pregnant woman number 7.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah, it did.
That sucked. It totally sucked. Chris continues, remember back in season 2 you couldn't wait to see our hip, jive-talking drug dealer Cook was going to do that episode.
Yep,
yes.
Absolutely.
He was a total X factor. You didn't know what he was going to lend. In fact, if there was ever a vision of what was going on inside of True Blood that matches what happens inside of Breaking Bad now, that was it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was the X factor. You had no idea what was going to happen, who he was going to sell drugs to, who he was eventually going to sell V to, when V was taboo. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now it's become lip balm that you can fix your scars and shit with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So...
Do you remember when you'd take a little drop and you'd, see, waterfalls and
heaven and naked girls.
And now people just tilt it back and take shots of it.
There's got to be snow in there.
There's no snow, Mike. There's no snow.
Yes, totally remember what happened back in season 2. Chris continues, yeah, well, watch him do nothing. Yeah. That's a great idea. We sure are sick of there being vamp blood as miracle mercurochrome.
Right.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Enough, makers of True Blood. Get us some solid storytelling or ditch the bitch, hookah. Absolutely. I totally agree, and that that gives them that license to go and kill.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to kill off the cast because I want you to kill off the cast, but if they've become a
dead
burden,
weight, sure.
Lighten the load, absolutely.
Carve them off.
We're going to continue. Mick from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, writes, I salute you and your comrade here on your podcast for telling us what you think. You're very welcome, Mick. What I don't like, while I don't like it, I can't disagree with what in the beginning had as a sad tale that served as a bridge episode that didn't have enough planks to go anywhere.
Okay, fair enough. With 12 episodes in the season And being episode 7, you can't waste an hour with a bridge episode, especially not one, as you so elegantly put it, without planks on it.
Right. Mick continues. It's becoming harder and harder to take the time to sit and watch the show live, much less DVR the program. Sit down, take the time to watch a program that I've truly loved. Truly, I love the books, I think, more in general. Fly itself around like one of those mini copters being flown by people that don't know how to fly them.
Wow.
Yes.
How that is an incredible description of what we saw in episode 7, I think, was people were in control of the car and they didn't know how to drive it. I think that's an incredible...
That's very wonderfully said. Mick finishes off with, what the fang banger at HBO? Get on the stick and fly the craft or don't. And Mick, I almost wish you'd have read this one inside of the Fang Banger podcast as opposed to the one from Mick. And Mick, that's not maligning you at all. But in fact, maybe both of them would have been a good idea. What you're seeing here is a total dynamic of someone that I think Mark is completely following the show because he's a True Blood fan.
Sure.
Period, paragraph. And anything that's said against it is an attack on it. Where Mick, who loves it, but is trying to now find the time to watch this program that doesn't capture him at all. And when he does watch it, it's like watching the literally, that you can't possibly understand why is that person flying it because they can't fly
it. Like what, Mike? Can you do that again?
Where it nips your forehead and shit. I can totally see that. It's awesome. But he's right. Mick is totally right. And it's something that you must acknowledge in particular as a True Blood fan, because I've got to tell you, you've got to send us the positive comments for episode 7.
Please.
Because other than the ones we suckled out of it, like a vampire at the blood bank.
Dude, it was like trying to suck the marrow out of a chicken bone, man. Trying to get the good stuff out of that episode.
I just didn't see it, but that's where, again, when we ask you, send us your feedback. Go to fangbangerpodcast.com. Click on the contact button on the top right-hand side of the page. Fill out the quick web form with as much or as little detail as you want, and let us know what you think. And Mark, the bottom line is that if you not only would have sent the feedback that you sent, but pushed 4 or 5 buttons, you'd be in line for $100.
$100. Wouldn't it be great if Mark won the gauntlet? That would be fantastic.
So anyway, Mark, and the rest of you, just listen. We got Shelly. The last one, we're just way over, so we're going to go with Shelly for the last one here. Shelly from Omaha, Nebraska. Shelly writes, I am truly torn. I love listening to you chat about the program. I hate it when you shit on the program. I hate it when you complain about the writing in the series. I hate it when you pick ghost things instead of characters because you don't deem something worthy inside the episode you're talking about. I am truly torn because you're right.
Awesome. Yeah. We were too. I mean, I think I stated at the beginning of that podcast how it drained me to have to come in and do what we did, because I do love the show so much. We both enjoy watching the show. It's appointment television. It really is. And then when you get served up something like episode 7 and you have to come in and have a discussion about it,
it's task television.
It is.
And not only is it task television, it's then the time to then edit the episode and put up the True Blood Transfusion and everything else. And so, again, for those people that think I've just got nothing better to do on a Tuesday evening than to sit and edit this program and load up YouTube videos, you're out of your freaking tree. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Go fly your Gomer helicopter. Okay. Shelley continues. Or, I'm sorry, Shelley concludes. In the beginning is bad storytelling, bad television, and something I think the creative staff should take as a sample of low quality to strive to never touch, much less dip below. Shame, True Blood, shame. By the way, I hate and love you. Fang Banger Podcast.
Awesome. I'll take that.
Absolutely. Shelley, I almost think that you are our audience at this point, where you want to love the show. In fact, you do love the show. You're watching it. You would not take the time to watch 12, 13-ish episodes, including the little preview of what's going to happen inside of Season 5, and 12 episodes of this show, along with our podcast, and then the True Blood Transfusions on top of it, if you didn't love the program.
Right.
So, Mark, why don't you think that about us?
Yeah. Anyway,
remember, you can listen to our most recent episode, a review of Episode 8, which was entitled
Somebody That I Used to Know.
And you can listen to that episode right now by clicking the links above us if you're at the fangbangerpodcast.com website, or right below us if you're at the YouTube channel for Two Guys Talking. That's youtube.com/2 Guys Talking, two Guys Talking, all lowercase, 2 Guys Talking. Until next time for the True Blood Transfusion, the sister program of the Fangbanger Podcast, I'm Mike Wilkerson, your host.
And I'm David Crete, the other host.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see and listen to you next time.